Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Don Lemon got arrested. Isn't that something? You know, he got arrested. It was a little after midnight last night on the West Coast. So here on the East Coast, it was at 3 a.m., and he's still in the big house. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to cover this. Your calls are certainly welcome if you'd like to call in about it as well. And there's quite a bit we're going to cover about this Don Lemon arrest because it's about time. You know, the mainstream media, even though he was fired by CNN, he's still part of that crew. The mainstream media are just a poison in our society, right? I mean, they lie to us. They try to manipulate us. They censor the news. They don't even report news. They just give their opinions, and they call it news. So, you know, these people in the mainstream media need some accountability. And this arrest of Don Lemon is certainly some accountability. So the indictment has come out. Let me read through some of this, and then we'll go through some of the audio that will be used in evidence against him. Object of the conspiracy, beginning on an unknown date and continuing to on or about January 18th, 2026, in the state of the District of Minnesota, defendants, and it lists all of them, including Don Ronaldo Lemon, conspired and agreed with one another and with other persons known and unknown to the grand jury to injure, oppress, threaten, and intimidate multiple persons, including the clergy, staff, and congregants of the city's church, in the free exercise and enjoyment of the rights and privileges secured to them by the laws of the United States, and because of such persons having exercised such right, namely, exercise of the First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship, as secured by Title 18, United States Code, Section 248C, all in violation of Title 18, United States Code, Section 241, conspiracy against rights. See, you know, so Don Lemon, he's been charged with what's commonly referred to as the Klan Act, as in the Ku Klux Klan. And, you know, this law was passed because the civil rights movement was organized, started, and run by, of course, the main leader was Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the great Martin Luther King. But there were other leaders all over the country. He was the main leader. And most of them were ministers, and they would organize in their churches. So the Democrats, and remember the Klan Act, Don Lemon's been charged with violating the Klan Act. The Democrat, I guess, the Democrat activist organization, the Ku Klux Klan, would harass the civil rights leaders at their churches, attacking them at their churches, maybe even burning down a church along the way, okay? And that's why this very specific law was passed. And I know a lot of people on the left are godless and atheist and have all their coexistence bumper stickers on the back of their cars and all that business. But religion is a very important thing in this country. And being able to go to a church and worship, regardless of what your religion is something that is highly respected in this country. And if you remember, Don Lemon and his co-conspirators, they got wind that there was a minister at the church who was working for ICE. So they got together, which basically, in many ways, a lynch mob. And Don Lemon was nice enough to document this by filming every moment of it before, during, and after. They got this. They had this lynch mob that went over to the church looking for the ICE minister. Right? It doesn't get more lynch mob than that. And this is a great thing. It really is. You know, the media in this country since President Trump came down the escalator, have been out of control nonstop. I mean, the media have always lied to us. We've kind of expected that over the years. But what they've been doing it's over 10 years now. What they've been doing for over 10 years against our great President Donald Trump is certainly criminal. Your thoughts on the Don Lemon arrest certainly are welcome. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. There's the media have this idea that they're just allowed to go out and break the law. Whether it's getting classified information and releasing it from people that have stolen classified information from government agencies, or harass people while they're in their church with their family. And this is Don Lemon before they went to the church at the organizing session they had.
Into Minneapolis a little bit ago and did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together. Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we're like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? So the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up.
Now, why can't he tell us? See, now this is key evidence against Don Lemon here. Why can't he not tell us? Because he doesn't want to give it away?
And it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account.
Hold them to account? Well, that sounds like they're going somewhere to hold people hostage, doesn't it? They're going to hold people account. They're going to break into a church with a lynch mob, and they're going to hold the people inside that church into account for what?
And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, can't tell you where
they're going because he doesn't want to spoil the surprise, he says there. At the end, if you're on hold, stand by. I'll go to the calls shortly. I'm watching a lot of this moral outrage from the left today while all this has been going on. They arrested a president of the United States, John Trump, 3 times? 2 times? I've lost track. How many times did they arrest Donald Trump? Bragg, Fulton County, and then Letitia, right? 3 times. So, they got him in Miami, they got him in Fulton County, and then they got him again in Bragg in New York. 3 times. Where was the outrage there? Oh, no one's above the law. Okay. Not that Donald Trump ever broke the law, but you know what? Don Lemon, he did. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, what's up? This is Jason Beatrice again from Massachusetts.
Hey, Jason.
I had a question. I kind of tuned out for a few days on media because it was stressing me the fuck out. Sorry for swearing. But do you know what the charge was that they charged Lemon with when they arrested him?
Yeah, I just went through the indictment. I went through the charges. So if you rewind to the beginning of the stream and you'll hear me go through it. And the main charge is that Klan Act, terrorizing people in a house of worship. All right?
Okay, but he's
what?
What they're trying to say is that he was just reporting on that.
Well, that's going to be his defense. Mm-hmm. But that's not true. Okay. See, this video that I just showed that Don Lemon recorded himself, right? He's meeting with them before it happened, right? So, I'm a media person, okay? Right? I'm a media person. I got a radio show, a podcast, a YouTube channel. I got what Don Lemon has. If I go down the street and there's some people planning a bank robbery and I start recording it and covering it and I go on the bank robbery with them, and I don't tell the police, am I not a criminal? Am I not doing it with them, or am I just a reporter? Oh yeah, I just happened to. And then by the way, when they're robbing the bank, I go up to the manager and start interviewing him. Like, what do you think you're doing here? All this way, right? Right? Do you think? Oh no, Brian's just media with that. He's just embedded with those bank robbers, right? I know
I know.
right?
I know he was a ringleader. I know.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to get your exact.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a prediction. By the way, I'm drinking Coke out of a bottle. And I want to thank President Trump and Bobby Kennedy for making all Coke Mexican Coke, right? Because this is with the real sugar in it. All Coke is Mexican Coke now, and it tastes so good. Thank you, Bobby Kennedy. Thank you, President Trump, for giving us our Coca-Cola back, like the old days. This is what I know. Isn't that nice? And when Don Lemon is in jail right now, I'm going to have a Coke and a smile, and I'm going to be during the show. But here's the thing with Don Lemon, okay? Don Lemon here, this is what I think happened. His whatever he's trying to do on YouTube or whatever, no one pays attention to. And I think he was a part of the group that had the idea to do this so that he could go viral. I think he conspired to
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I think happened. He may have been the guy. He may have been the one that came up with the idea originally in the first place.
I think he led the mob. Just saying.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for the call.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's good, bro?
Turn down the volume of whatever device you're listening to me on because of the delay.
Yeah, this is Robert, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Robert.
Hey, I just want to congratulate you, bro.
Well, thank you. I'll take that, and I thank you for your congratulations. All right, so here he is in the parking lot. This is, I do this thing. I learned this from Steve Kane, the shoe on the other foot test, right? You know what I told the previous caller. If I grabbed my microphone and there's some people down the street that are getting ready to break into homes in my neighborhood, and I don't call the police, and I cover it, and I go into the homes with them while they're breaking in and interview the homeowners while they're getting robbed, do you think the police would say, "Oh, Brian's just media. He's just covering this"? I don't think that's how it works. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Dave.
Hey, Dave.
You there? Yeah.
Hey. Mm-hmm.
You say it's been, 14 hours he's still in jail?
I haven't seen him come out yet. I've been monitoring. They had some microphones set up, and Jane Fonda came out.
Well, the thing is he should be able to bond down on that. Either that or he's bonded real well with his cellmate,
No, well, yeah, you got to go through the process, and getting arrested on the weekend's the worst time to get arrested. Government shuts.
Maybe that's it.
Government shuts down.
It's something. Yeah. What do you think it is? Problem with a lot of these lefties that don't understand that if you're with somebody committing a crime and you're saying nothing or not trying to get away, you're guilty.
Well, I think he planned it. I told a previous caller, I think what happened here, Don Lemon was involved in the planning of this so that he could get a viral moment for his channel and try to be relevant. That's what I think happened.
Absolutely right. I agree with that.
Yeah. But still, you're not allowed. Anyway. You're not allowed to, as a journalist, you cannot go around with criminals and film them doing crime and not turn them in and just say, "Well, I'm a journalist. This auto theft ring that I'm riding around with, I'm just covering this for my YouTube channel." I know I didn't call the police or anything, and then I interviewed the people that got their cars stolen, but in the carjacking by this car theft mob. But I'm just a journalist, and I'm just covering this car theft ring that's carjacking people. Oh, okay, Brian, you're just covering this for your YouTube channel. Oh, okay, give me a break. It's ridiculous.
The only protection they really have is with their sources. and really, when you get down to it, this has nothing to do with
Well,
anything
okay.
like
In
that.
the past, the Pentagon Papers case. I'm not going to go through all that stuff. If you don't know about it, you do some googling, and the Pentagon Papers. Daniel Ellsberg gave classified Pentagon information about the war in Vietnam during the war to the Washington Post, and they printed it. And it was classified, and the government prosecuted and wanted the Washington Post reporters and editors to go to prison for espionage. And the Supreme Court ruled that while the person that is the leaker has committed the crime, the journalist receiving the stolen classified materials has not. But that's not what Don Lemon did. Don Lemon went with a lynch mob, broke into a church during church service, terrorized the people inside the church, and then interviewed them while they're being terrorized.
Yeah, I tell you, it's a good thing that that's not an IQ test, because he failed miserably, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Anyway, I appreciate it, Brian. You
All
have
right.
a good day.
All right, you too. Yeah, if you'd like to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat. You're all welcome to call in. Have any of you had the new Bobby Kennedy Trump Mexican Coke? All Coke is now Mexican Coke. And I remember on one of our MAGA cruises, my daughter and I, first thing we did when we got to Mexico was went to 7-Eleven and got a Mexican Coke. Now I can get this anywhere. All Coke is now Mexican Coke. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, bro, congratulations for being...
Yes, thank you. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Les from City of Industry. How's it going?
All right. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I wanted to discuss that beautiful Coca-Cola you're drinking.
No, I'm talking about Don Lemon.
Oh, we want to talk about Don Lemon. Oh, okay. It looks like he's in a lot of trouble. It looks like
He could go to prison.
he should have thought this through.
He was terrorizing people. He could go to prison for this.
I mean, I'm trying to remember when a character this polarizing, this big of a journalist ever committed a crime like when has this ever happened?
I can't. I didn't do any Googling or anything. I was just using my mind. God, imagine that. But people do it. But I don't have any recollection of a media person being arrested. But Don Lemon, is he really a reporter, a journalist anymore? At best, he's an editorialist. And he's basically like me. He's like, I got my podcast, YouTube, radio show. He's like me. He's not even he's not even working as a journalist anymore, right?
Yeah, well, he kind of reminds me of like a Tucker Carlson. He used to work for one of the big box, channels, and now he's kind of, doing his own thing. But it's still, it's definitely. Everybody knows who this guy is.
Well, listen. Famous. A lot of times you hear these stories. A lot of TikTokers, Twitch streamers, and Instagram influencers who do things that get them in trouble. What's the one guy that he's a Twitch streamer here in Florida, and he was live streaming and he wrecked his $250,000 Lamborghini. He's one of these famous IRL live streamers, and he got in trouble for it. He just got so it's not unusual for live streamers and YouTubers and Twitch people to break the law and go way over the line trying to go viral. It happens all the time. And Don Lemon, that's what he did. He was trying to go viral, and he did this. You can't break the law.
So my question is, like you said before, he had a $30 million golden handshake, right? After he split.
They gave him $10 million, CNN. $10 million.
So what's he doing heating up that seat in jail? Shouldn't he already be bailed out by now? I'm just curious.
Well, he got arrested. They said a little after midnight, and a little after midnight. That's California time. That was 3 a.m. on the East Coast. And, it's a long day's process. He's charged with some very serious federal crimes. This isn't a DUI. The Klan Act, these were put in place. The Ku Klux Klan was a Democrat domestic terrorist organization. that was terrorizing black civil rights leaders in their churches in the South. This is a major, major law. It's an anti-domestic terrorism law. So it's not this is not some misdemeanor. He is charged with crimes on a law that is to stop domestic terrorists from terrorizing people. It's a pretty serious law. It's a big deal. It's not some DUI that you go and just get bailed out on the next morning.
I find this a bit ironic. They're going to use the Klan Act against Don Lemon.
Well, the Klan were Democrats, and Don Lemon's a Democrat.
Yeah, but the Klan was more against. Okay, anyways, you know what I mean. I don't need to say it.
The Ku Klux Klan. What they were, what they were really trying to do is they were trying to stop blacks from voting Republican. If the blacks were voting Democrat, the Klan wouldn't have stopped them. They were after them because they were voting Republican.
Yeah.
Indeed. Huh. It's nice. Fun day.
But about that Coke, what are you saying that it's, or you want to keep going with them on? Go ahead, sorry.
Well, what about it? No, it's Mexican Coke has been sought after because it had cane sugar in it. Bobby Kennedy got Coca-Cola to take that fake sugar and put regular cane sugar in Coca-Cola again. And it's, so we've been,
is this,
it tastes better.
Is this, so American-made Coca-Cola is now being made the Mexican way, correct, is what you're saying?
No, Mexico was making it the old American way, like it used to be made in America. But we used to call it Mexican Coke.
I had a friend that used to always, we'd go to taco.
Nah, I don't want to talk. Now, we got a thing going here. I'm not going to talk about Coke, but I appreciate the call. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, bro, you look stupid.
Yeah, well, that's good. All right, so let's get back to Don Lemon. See, now this is, in my view, this is Don Lemon. Well, let me play it, then we'll talk about it.
Into Minneapolis a little bit ago and did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together. Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we're like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we're like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? Saw the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but
I can't tell you exactly what they're doing. So here he is, concealing the crime that they're about to commit. He is a co-conspirator.
It's called Operation Pull Up, and it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it.
After we do this operation, he didn't say, Don Lemon reporting, and after I report from this, I'm going to go to this other event and cover that. He didn't say any of that, right? Not only does he show that he's a co-conspirator, he identifies himself as part of the act and the group. Listen.
And as it turns out, because we're like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right? Saw the American flag or whatever, but these are resistance protesters. They're planning an operation that we're going to follow them on. I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up, and it's Takima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live. And these operations are surprise operations. Again, can't tell you where they're.
So he knows about multiple operations all over the city. So, he really messed up here because he knows this is wrong. Okay? That's why in the beginning, he pretended to act like he just stumbled upon it. Oh, I saw these American flags. I thought these were MAGA people. Then I found out it's whatever her name is from the Floyd era, right? But then he knows all their operational plans and future events, which contradicts what he said in the beginning. This guy is dirty, is dirty. And you know what? He is in big, big trouble. Here's another clip. Don Lemon in big trouble.
So they're getting the operation together. Again, this is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out.
Oh, so see, now he was invited. So he knew well in advance. He came to this spot to be a part of this illegal criminal activity. Right? That's what he just said.
So they're getting the operation together. Again, this is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out. Can't tell you what is going to happen, but you're going to watch it live unfold here on the Don Lemon Show. There are for this reason it may look like MAGA coded, but there's a reason they have so many white people here. I'm just going to be honest. It's because of the operation that they're doing today. It's important to have allies, as they said, white allies here.
They're using, see, these people are so whacked when it comes to their liberalism. They have white people, what he's saying is they have white people here as human shields to protect them from Johnny Law, because they're so woke. They think that white people can go out and do crime, right? And get away with it. Now, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't work that way. Oh, my goodness. See, on a serious note, and I don't want to laugh when I say this because this is very important. I think that Renee Good and Preddy were put in a position to get killed by these activists because they think that if white people, especially Preddy, if white people get killed, that the MAGA people in the country will turn against Trump and ICE when they see one of our own killed, meaning a white person. These are some real sick, woke people. Let me rewind it and hear Don Lemon talk about his white human shields.
For this reason, it may look like MAGA coded, but there's a reason they have so many white people here. I'm just going to be honest. It's because of the operation that they're doing today. It's important to have allies, as they said, white allies here. So that is what I could say. I turned our camera off of them because they're giving some critical information here.
Okay, so see, now they are engaged in a criminal conspiracy to commit a domestic terrorist act, and Don Lemon not only was told well in advance and knows their future activities, that they, all of them. He's got a whole list of places he's going to go as they break the law, as they violate the Klan Act. He's also making sure that you don't hear the details so that they can commit their crimes and no one can call the cops. That's crazy. And remember, he was indicted by a Minnesota grand jury, okay? A Minnesota grand jury indicted Don Lemon.
Allies here. So that is what I could say. I turned our camera off of them because they're giving some critical information here. There we go. Everybody's ready to go.
All right, yeah. I mean, he's really getting into it, isn't he? I'm so glad he recorded all of this evidence to be used against him in a court of law. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Patriot, Kevin.
Yeah, speak up. You're cutting out. I can't hear you very well.
I said, "What's up, Patriot? This is Kevin."
All right, Kevin.
I got a quick question for you. Yesterday, I sent a letter, stuck it in the blue.
No, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about any of that stuff. Get your own YouTube channel and talk about all that stuff. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. It's 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I'll take a quick break and be right back. On the line, we have Gina. She's a client of Jupiter Joe Thomas. Gina, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing great, thanks. So you went and met with Joe Thomas about annuities. Can you tell me about your experience?
I can't say enough good things about my experience with Joe Thomas. He's a straight shooter. He tells it like it is. He talks in plain language so that you know, because I didn't know anything about this stuff when I retired. So I walked into his office, and immediately I felt comfortable. And I said, look, I know nothing about this. I don't want to lose my shirt. So please guide me in the right direction so that I'll be set. And he sure did. And I'm very happy that I went there. And I even got my mother to join, too. Now I feel comfortable that I'm set, and I don't have to worry about running out of money.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than running out of money before you run out of life, right?
Exactly.
Give Jupiter Joe Thomas a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999 and online, jupiterjoe.com. All right, Gina, thanks so much.
Thank you, Brian.
Hi, it's Dr. Philip Appleton. You've been hearing my commercials about bye-bye pain, my laser weight treatment, but today's commercial and today's spot is going to be on Tom Laporta, Laporta Roofing. What an experience I've had with him and his company. They've done a few of my friends' houses and my son and my house, and there's never a downtime. They're old school, which means you call them up, they'll be there. How many times have you called somebody up and they never show up, or they give you an excuse, weather, traffic, whatever? Tom Laporta, what a class act. The workmanship, the magnificent teamwork they have. I recommend them 100%.
Thanks, Dr. Appleton. Now do what Dr. Appleton did. Pick up your phone and call Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing on your cell phone. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, laportaroofing.com. All right, we're back. And, of course, we're talking about the arrest of Don Lemon, known in MAGA circles as Don Lemon. That's right, Don Lemon. You know, a lot of people have been messaging me and leaving comments on my YouTube videos. It's Lemon, not Lemon. President Trump, and in the MAGA movement, we call him Don Lemon. Okay, and you know, liberals, they don't get it because they don't call him that. Oh, you don't hear that over on MS Now or CNN, and they don't watch the Trump rallies, but his name is Don Lemon. So here is his old team over at CNN talking about Don Lemon's arrest.
Has said all along that he was there not as an activist, but as a journalist. In fact, he was saying those words and repeating that out loud when he was inside the church. But he clearly knew something was taking place that day with the protesters. He told his viewers on YouTube to stay tuned because there was something about to happen. He was careful not to...
Boy, with friends like Brian Stelter. Brian Stelter, he'd be a good witness for the prosecution.
Has said all along that he was there not as an activist, but as a journalist. In fact, he was saying those words and repeating that out loud when he was inside the church. But he clearly knew something was taking place that day with the protesters. He told his viewers on YouTube to stay tuned because there was something about to happen. He was careful not to have his camera crew walk into the church until there was a disruption. And I would urge people to go online, actually watch the YouTube video, see how it all went down. I think Lemon's reporting from inside the church was very valuable. As a viewer, I learned a lot about how it happened, how it all went down. He interviewed some of the protesters in real time, yes. He also interviewed some of the worshipers, and I thought their comments were really insightful about what they went through, about how troubled, how scared they were by the disruption. At the same time, like I said, you learned a lot from the protesters about why they decided to show up there, believing that one of the pastors at the church also worked for ICE. So this video on YouTube, this is the real focal point. This video, it of course happened on a Sunday morning. This video was then streaming for everyone to see. And by Monday, the day after that incident, there was a lot of online outrage on the right. Many calls from MAGA loyalists to have Lemon arrested. I think an important part of the story here is the amount of pressure the Justice Department, Pam Bondi, and others have been under from the right to arrest Lemon, to take action like this. And as you said, the initial attempt to do so failed in Minnesota. Now we're seeing another attempt to do so. And Lemon did...
No, this did not fail him. Now, this is before Brian Stelter, who's throwing Don Lemon under the bus. Good for you. He must not have liked him too much. This is before it was released. They didn't know how these charges came about. So Stelter doesn't know here. But this was an indictment from a grand jury in Minnesota. So these charges come from a Minnesota grand jury where the crime was committed.
Say on his live stream last week, he expected the government would keep coming for him. I think I view this in context with Trump administration attempts to target other perceived critics. Think about Letitia James.
There you go. I mean, he's even got his old colleagues and his old network, calling him out guilty. This was a live stream video. This is Don Lemon's husband outside the courthouse waiting for Don Lemon to be released. Oh my goodness, he got all dressed up too, right? On his skinny pants. Oh my goodness. And here he is again. The evidence against Don Lemon is going to be himself. He is the star witness for the prosecution.
Them to account, and so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live.
After we do this operation, hear that?
Them to account, and so that's what we're doing here. And then
that's what we're doing here.
Them to account, and so that's what we're doing here. And then after we do this operation, you'll see it live.
After we do this operation, then we're gonna. Wow, this is confessions. He's going viral now. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Andre, South Carolina.
Okay.
Hey, what's up? Hey, you're a faggot, motherfucker.
Okay. Well, I've been called worse. I don't know. It's Friday. You looking for a date or something? I don't quite get that. Now this was an interesting thing because I had the live stream on. They had a bunch of microphones set up in front of the federal courthouse, and I thought, oh, okay, maybe Don Lemon's gonna come talk to the press, and then this woman came out and started to talk. I didn't know who she was. I didn't recognize. I thought, well, this must be Don's lawyer, and why does his lawyer dress like in an old lady tracksuit? I didn't know who this was, and then she started talking, and I recognized her voice. It's Jane Fonda, and oh my goodness, look at what has happened to Jane Fonda, and she was out there, of course, defending Don Lemon from everything. I mean, I want you to think about what this scumbucket did, right? Look at what he did. He conspires with these domestic terrorists to go with this lynch mob to a church, terrorize the parents, terrorize the children, and then he interviews the pastor that they're terrorizing during the terrorist event.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a constitution and the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
Yeah. We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's not.
You can't protest inside of a church when you breaking in and interrupting their church service. It blows my mind. And not only did he know he went over the line, if you remember, after he did this, he started going around trying to distance himself from them because somebody told him you broke the law, you could get arrested.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street, you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution. When you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the Civil Rights Movement was about, the Civil Rights Movement was about these very kinds of protests. There's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt, it's to make uncomfortable. And that's what they're doing. And that's what I believe when I say everyone has to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to make people uncomfortable in these times. If you see how uncomfortable people uncomfortably...
and another thing about this... This is Minneapolis. This is Minnesota. Because Minnesota is so Democrat, the chances are by far that most everyone in that church, at least they were at the time, a Democrat. Oh, by the way, also in Minnesota, I got to share this. this is crazy. Some big stories have come down. Ilhan Omar's husband has this investment firm, right? Where this is supposedly the source of the $30 million wealth. Just came out today that Ilhan Omar's husband's investment firm with the $30 million valuation, no clients, and no records of managing anyone's money.
Okay, that was far-left Congresswoman Ilhan Omar claiming the Justice Department and Congress probing her sudden skyrocketing wealth to $30 million in just 1 year, that they have a problem with her living the American dream. You heard her say the goddamn United States of America. We've got new questions on where she and her husband got all that money. Joining us now, Forbes Media Chair, Editor-in-Chief Steve Forbes. Steve, new information coming in Forbes magazine, your magazine has reported this too, that the state of Delaware and Washington, D.C. canceled the registrations for Omar's husband's investment firm, Rose Lake, for not paying its back taxes. We saw it owed more than $400,000 to Delaware and nearly $1,800 to D.C. She's claiming it's worth $25 million from less than $1,000 a year before. How can his investment firm not afford to pay taxes? It's supposedly worth an estimated $75 million to $150 million. This is really weird stuff.
Well, weird is not the word for it. There's another word for it called crooked. And that's why we have to have an investigation into this. As you know, the Biden administration started examining her finances.
See, there you go. So this investment firm has no clients, no records of ever managing anyone's money. And her husband haven't been paying their taxes. Well, by the way, while they're not paying their taxes, she voted against all the tax cuts for you and me in the big, beautiful bill. She wanted all of our taxes to get raised. Well, I guess she doesn't care what the tax rates are because her and her husband don't pay them. So what does it matter what the taxes are if you are not paying them? Now, Brian Stelter, while Brian Stelter may be throwing Don Lemon under the bus, he's still got some friends over there at CNN.
This is not happening in a vacuum. Big picture, we know that our former colleague Don Lemon has been a big critic of Donald Trump. In 2018, he called him racist on our air. Donald Trump has been a huge critic of Don Lemon. He called him in 2023 the dumbest man on television,
yes.
End quote. So one question, is this arrest more about revenge and retribution?
Isn't it amazing? They arrested Trump in Miami in federal court. They arrested him in Fulton County. They arrested him with Bragg. And by the way, it wasn't just the president they arrested. They arrested two of his campaign managers, Manafort, Bannon. They broke into his lawyer's office and then ended up arresting and sending him to prison, Michael Cohen. And they arrested a whole bunch of other lawyers of his, Sidney Powell and others in Fulton County. They arrested, what was it, like between 16 and 20 people on Trump attorneys and everything that got arrested. So all of a sudden, they're, how using the Justice Department for political retribution here with this. What were they doing for 4 years?
This is not happening in a vacuum. Big picture, we know that our former colleague Don Lemon has been a big critic of Donald Trump. In 2018, he called him racist on our air. Donald Trump has been a huge critic of Don Lemon. He called him in 2020.
By the way, CNN's a big critic of Don Lemon. They're the ones who fired him, okay? So why are they laying all this on Trump? They fired him, so they didn't like him, okay? That was a pretty big deal. They fired him.
23, the dumbest man on television, end quote. So one question, is this arrest more about revenge and retribution, which Donald Trump has made clear there are people he wants to go after? And then one other thing we know. President Trump likes to create distractions.
Yes.
There is a lot going on this week. It was a bad week for the White House.
Are you kidding me? Wasn't a bad week for the White House. It was a great week for the White House.
His polling is bad, the ICE raids, the killing of these two Americans, and what's happening today? the Epstein files are being.
Oh, the Epstein files. Give me a break. You know, I was talking when I was talking earlier on this morning's live stream. There's two things that you hear from every liberal, whether they're with me on the phone or on CNN or MS Now, BC, or all that. Whenever they have a losing position, they mention one of two things: January 6th or Epstein. They mention January 6th or Epstein, and that's supposed to, oh, yeah. That's what they say when they got nothing else to say.
Release. Yeah. Luckily, we have 24 hours and infinity online, so we can cover it all. And
oh, yeah, well, cover it all, yeah. That's good. Cover Don Lemon and his crimes. Dana Bash there. Oh, this is great stuff. Oh, here's another great one. Listen to this. This is an older one because this is when Don Lemon was still on CNN, right? He was talking about the Mueller report.
Nobody is above the law.
Oh, okay. Maybe they can use that in court against him too. Don Lemon says no one is above the law. So there you have it. He's in a lot of trouble. He really is. Here he is outside the church, and this has actually made it worse for him.
Watch this guy here. Look, he's hugging his kid, and you know, I've imagined it's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here. But again, careful. It's very slippery right here. Yeah. It's uncomfortable and traumatic for the people here, but that's what really, careful, please. Really slippery. Not kidding. That's what protesting is about. And so,
yeah, well, protest. Yeah, right. Yeah, terrorism. Okay, so this is what Brian Stelter was talking about. That Don Lemon, even though he had prior knowledge and was involved in the planning and all this stuff, he doesn't go in with his camera crew until the disruption happens so that he can try to act as if he has no role here. He's just covering the news and just coincidentally happened to be there, and that's just not going to fly. I'm sorry to tell you. All right, this was Fox breaking the story.
Alert, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Malusian joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel.
Well, let me rewind that because I didn't have the video on, and I want to savor this.
Alert, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Malusian joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles.
Oh, this was great. And were you guys watching me live this morning? You know, this is 8:25 in the morning, Eastern time, when this story broke, even though he was arrested about 3 a.m. Eastern time. And this broke. And were you guys listening this morning on the live program when I found out about this? Do you know how I found out about this? Jay from Jersey called in and told me. He's like, I didn't call in to talk about Don Lemon getting arrested. I was like, what? You know, so yeah, Jay from Jersey, he was my correspondent on this, broke the news.
Just after midnight this morning at a hotel. This obviously all in connection with that storming of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota by that group of anti-ICE agitators. Now remember, the feds had gone to judges to try to get Don Lemon arrested before. They went to a magistrate judge in Minnesota who didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to a judge above him. He didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to an appeals court. They also decided not to sign off for an arrest warrant for him. So there was experts who were predicting that perhaps the feds would go to a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm.
Now, this is before we knew. This indictment came from a Minnesota grand jury.
That Don Lemon was arrested in Los Angeles by federal agents just after midnight Los Angeles time at a hotel. Now, typically, Standard procedure with an arrest like this is the defendant will likely make their first court appearance sometime the same day. So there's a chance we may see Don Lemon make his first court appearance in Los Angeles sometime today. But obviously this is going to grab all sorts of headlines.
Don't get arrested on the weekend.
Protesters from that church storming, have already been arrested, including who the feds say was the organizer of that protest. The woman in the middle there is a school board member in St. Paul, and then the mugshot on the right is an online personality / agitator, if you want to call him that. He's known as the woke farmer. Those were the three people that the feds had already arrested, but we have confirmed that Don Lemon has now been arrested in Los Angeles in connection with that viral incident. We all saw the video of it that spread and drew widespread condemnation. The feds have been going after these people on FACE Act violations. So this is still breaking news. Once we get more details about the potential charges here.
Yeah, well, we got them now as I went over at the beginning of the stream. This is just a great day. You know, this country, we're so lucky that President Trump was reelected. We really are blessed because we were really going to a very dark place. You know, these domestic terrorists breaking into churches and terrorizing families in a church service. These were the people that would be running the country right now, right? Yeah. And there's some major accountability. And for all of these people that are saying that we're pulling out and there's a drawdown in Minnesota, explain this. They kept it secret. Nobody leaked out about that Minnesota grand jury in the Don Lemon case. That happened real quick. No one knew about, no advance knowledge. Everyone was shocked when the news dropped.
Into Minneapolis a little bit ago and did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together.
Yeah, there he is. The confession. If you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. And, remember, the Brian Craig Show podcast is available wherever you get podcast, okay? And if you'd like to support my program, become a Patreon supporter. There's a link to my Patreon page in the description of this and every episode. So if you go into the description, you can see a link to my Patreon page. Let me pull this up. And this was after the event, right? This was the day after the church event, maybe the day after, but I think this was the day after. Don Lemon went on this left-wing podcast.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that.
See, he did this little media tour after, because someone had told him, maybe an attorney told him, that he broke a pretty serious law. So he went out there trying to make it look like he was just some journalist, some reporter covering some breaking news. And what we find out about is that he had prior knowledge and was a part of the planning of this criminal act. And this was only one of many that they were going to do on that day.
I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there.
Oh.
And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
Oh, that's why. Oh, okay. Who cares? It's no big deal anymore. Nobody cares that you're gay, Don, okay? No one cares. This was one of my favorite. Todd Blanche, who was President Trump's lawyer in some of those New York cases. He's now Deputy Attorney General. And he was asked by this reporter for his reaction to the Don Lemon arrest. Did you guys see this today? This is hilarious. Watch.
Do you have a reaction to the arrest of Don Lemon overnight?
Do I have a reaction to what?
To Don Lemon's arrest overnight.
Do I have a reaction to it? I don't know what that means. What are you looking for me to do? Jump up and down? No, I don't have a reaction to it. I don't know that the charges are unsealed yet. No, I can't. I'm not going to comment on that.
Oh man, there's a lot of very funny guys in the Trump administration, and there isn't there in the second term a lot of very funny people. That guy, that was hilarious. He's laughing at the guy. Again, if you're new, make sure that you subscribe. This is the Brian Craig Show, and I'm here live all the time, always taking live calls. I will be back in the morning with the latest on this and everything else that breaks tonight. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for joining in. I'll see you next time.